911 WZBT Gettysburg Expat Radio. Yeah, I was in here last week. Last week, apparently, Gettysburg flooded. Probably a good thing I didn't come into town. I have a band here. I have Marshal Fuzz here. They're from Frederick. I'm gonna allow them to play real quick, and we'll go from there. All right, so give me a second and let them show you who they are. One sec. use these two. I want you close to this mic. Alright, you're gonna play another one, yeah?
Yeah.
Alright, so yeah. I run on WZBT Gettysburg, Expat Radio. I'm obligated. I have to say 717-337-73. No, it's a lie. 7288. Alright, so you're gonna play a second one. I only want you to come over this way, a little, so your voice is getting through.
Gotcha.
Closer to this right here. For you guys, I did miss doing this last week. I thought I was gonna go trick-or-treating. I ended up not going. There was some kind of tornado watch in Chambersburg, and then Gettysburg got the full brunt of it, and they got flooded. So I'm glad I didn't leave the house and drove over that mountain. That mountain is treacherous. I hope everyone's doing well. As they're getting set up, I'll give you a listing. I'm not used to just hearing my voice. Usually there's something playing in the background. But as it's going, there's nothing playing. So let me see. Alright, so this week obviously I have Marshal Fuzz on right now. I have Dress next week. The 21st I have Ben Wank with Dean Barker and Cousin Billy. On December 5th I have Beck Foster. On December 12th, that's the TBD. Actually not the band TBD, it's to be determined. On December 19th I have Nick Stabar, and then we'll get to the new year when we get there. Alright, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Now let's go.
This one's called Selfish.
WZBT Gettysburg, Expat Radio. Marshal Fuzz, please, let me just turn this music down. Please introduce yourself from this way. I'm pointing, you can't see on the radio, but I'm pointing. All right, go ahead, sir.
How's it going, guys? My name is Bradley. I play the bass.
All right.
How you doing? I'm Sully. I play the guitar and I sing.
All right.
I am Al, the violinist.
And I'm Declan, drums and percussion.
All right. So, usually I have bands on. I've already met them prior to this. We really didn't talk. I maybe talked to you like 20 minutes, got a little understanding of who you guys are. Who wants to explain what we just heard? The last two songs we were just listening to.
The first song is called "Crawl Down."
All right.
What is it about? we were just talking about like my writing process. I usually like when I'm writing, it's the ideas are kind of vague. It's like a collage of different emotions and different feelings. So it's never really about anything in particular. But it's basically about how life kind of humbles you. Sometimes you think you're up high, and then all of a sudden you find yourself crawling down and getting low. And you know, whenever you think you're high and mighty, something happens to bring you back down to earth and put you on your knees and make you crawl.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. And then the second song.
The second one's called "Selfish," which is kind of self-explanatory. It's basically about, you know, the chorus goes, you know, you're so selfish, all you care about is you. I'll do you one better, I'll be selfish too. So it's basically saying that we can all be selfish, but is that really going to get anything accomplished? Yeah.
All right. So, from me meeting you guys earlier, you've been like the leader of this band. You pulled everyone together.
Pretty much. I mean, these are songs that I've had for maybe about 3 or 4 years. So this incarnation, Bradley is probably the oldest, you know, member as far as this incarnation is concerned. Me and Bradley we've been working together for about 1.5 years now. So yeah.
All right. So to give everyone out there an idea, you guys are coming from Frederick.
Yeah.
You met
in Frederick. Yeah.
I'd like to give a shout out to Jeremy Burke. Jeremy Burke he had turned around and he had given me a heads up. He said, "Hey, look, there's this band. I really think you would like them. They really fit in with the idea of your show. You should have them on." So I was in contact with Sully and going back and forward over a couple of months. I mean, months had passed by. With anyone that's ever been on my show, they would know I'll contact you through text. I'll make sure we set up a date, and then the date is booked. That's what it is. I mean, I'll make a point to say, "Hey, I might not talk to you for a while," but then when
what you said.
when I talk to you, you know, as long as nothing changes, and then we'll go from there. So you got in contact with me this week. Sally got in contact with me this week. Figured out where we were gonna meet. We met up at the Gettysburg Brew Works. They had their monthly open mic, which actually was a good time. Yeah, it was good to see a lot of people there. See Doug there, see Babs, you saw Peanut there, Tyler the Eldar, see Blaine, you see Jeremy Burke, Aaron. It's the first time you guys are coming to Gettysburg.
Yeah, it's our first time.
It seems like you guys got a lot of cool stuff going on.
It's very interesting in this town. There's a lot of things moving forward around here. So you guys met in Frederick. You've been traveling. You do shows. You said something to the extent 5 to 6 shows a month. Yeah.
We try to stay busy. I mean, we've been as far out as New Orleans, but generally mostly Frederick, but with DC, Virginia.
How do you go about booking these shows?
I mean, it's kind of like one of those kind of trial and error things. You kind of meet people along the path, and you make connections. There are a lot of good groups on Facebook. Where communities where people will announce they need a show, they need somebody to fill in for this show, fill in for that show. So there's a lot of resources out there that if you're a band and you want to be busy, you can definitely be busy.
All right. So as you're doing this, you all have jobs outside of this, but this is what is this? It's a hobby. It's a creative force. You're trying to move forward with this and move.
We're trying to move forward with this.
All right. So
it's all of the above.
It's serious business.
All right. So say your names again, but then as you said your name, I want you to give me a description, your background in music. So we'll start again from yourself.
So my name is Bradley. I've been playing music for a long time. I haven't been playing bass for that long. I started on the trumpet. Started on the recorder actually. I think that was everybody's first instrument. Started on the trumpet, then taught myself how to play drums, then taught myself how to play guitar, then started playing the bass, and then after that, I noodled a little bit on the ukulele, and the hand drums. Man, I'm really in love with all things kind of percussive, all things rhythmic. You know what I mean? Like I'm all about the groove, and that's.
So when you meet Sully, how'd that work out?
So it was actually kind of random. Like you were saying, Gettysburg has a lot of things going on.
Yep.
Like that open mic night we went to was really cool. Like I thought that was a show. There were a bunch of really dope players out there. I think some similar things are happening in Frederick too.
All right. Where exactly would you go if you wanted to find us in Frederick?
So there's open mic nights almost every night of the week in Frederick. We got the Sunday night open funk jam.
Okay.
Down at that Old Town, which is I think where we and then. Yeah, that's run by some of the players from Lit, who you may have heard of. Really great dope band coming through. A lot of great players coming through there. If you want like your full band, all electric, all improvisational stuff. Monday you have Cafe Nola. You have an open mic night there, and that's pretty open for everybody. Okay. That gets a little more stripped down, but you have your singer-songwriters, your hip-hop artists, and what have you. And the whole gamut.
The usual variety as well,
Yeah.
which is really fun.
Yeah, and that's actually where I ended up meeting Sully. I rolled in there after a gig with another drummer buddy of mine, like about 2 years ago, and there were just some players rolling through, and I heard this guy with an acoustic guitar, this big old fella right here, and he started singing the Cranberries. I'm like, all right, interesting choice, and he started singing Zombie, and he just it really struck me how kind of powerful it sounded, the way, and it really stuck with me, and I made sure and I talked to him afterwards, and I was like, yeah man, that sounded really awesome.
We knew each other before then.
That was the first time I really talked to you. Yeah, that was the first time I really met you. And then we ended up meeting up afterwards, just through some mutual friends locally.
I'll be honest. There's a lot of people that I've spoken to today for the first time, but I know them. If that makes sense. I've gone to the open mic and I've seen them. I'll say hello, but I actually had conversations with them. What's kind of?
All right. I'm just learning how to do Facebook Live.
Yeah. Oh, you never hit the live button?
You never hit the live? All right, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one.
All right, so there's a running joke while I just met these guys, and so he's talking about, all right, well, he'll push records, he'll push stop, he'll do a second take, push stop, push record for the third take. The third take will be the best take. But then he forgot to push record, and I think that just happened just now.
It's contagious.
All right, so give me an idea. Where are you coming from? Your background?
I started music. I started rapping first. In the early '90s, I was into New York style, boom bap, hip hop, and I guess to make the story short, I basically went to a studio. There was a guitar there, belonged to my buddy. I was like, hey, can I borrow this for a couple of days, see if I can write something on it?
Had you ever played guitar before?
Never touched the guitar before in my life. And I started noodling around. I actually wrote and recorded about 3 songs on it and didn't even know how to tune the guitar. I was tuning it completely incorrectly. So somebody who didn't know how to, never take advice from people who don't know what the hell they're talking. But somebody who didn't know how to tune the guitar, they taught me wrong how to tune the guitar. So I basically wrote 3 songs, recorded them. I had him have my own little finger picking style or whatever. But then after about 5 or 6 months of playing that way, I figured I need to do it for real. So I got with a guitar teacher and took lessons for maybe like 15 years almost. Me and my guitar teacher, till recently, were really, really good friends. He moved away. But took lessons and then started playing. Music interests kind of changed. It went from hip hop. When I first started playing guitar, I was into jazz a lot. I was into a lot of fusion jazz, a lot of avant-garde era jazz, a lot of modal jazz, with Miles Davis, kind of blue. And then I got into the fusion stuff. But then I was introduced to this band called Caius. And they and then once I started listening to Caius, that's when I started to get into the heavier stuff. And it was crazy because I told my guitar teacher, I was hanging out with another one of his students, and the student actually turned me on to the band. And then after I heard the band, I go to my guitar teacher. I'm like, dude, how come you never told me about this band? I've been taking lessons with you for almost 10 years. You never told me about it. He said, man, I didn't know that's the direction you were trying to go. I'm like, yeah, man, that was the direction. But yeah, I mean, long story short, it kind of got me less into notes and more into tone and groove and riffs. So,
all right.
So yeah.
All right, good man. All right, we'll go next, sir.
So yeah, I'm Al, the violinist.
Okay.
I started playing violin when I was 8.
Okay.
I'm 27 now,
All right.
and so I actually started as a joke because I was in elementary school, and the music teacher, the orchestra director, came in and was like, "Hey, does anybody want to come to the music room and try out some instruments?" And so my best friend who sat next to me and I were just like, wouldn't that be funny to just make some really bad noises on some wooden instruments? And we went there and I picked up a violin and I was just like, okay, I'll try this out. And then my parents made me stick to a commitment so I actually didn't like playing violin for a little while because I was just like, oh, I did this and now I'm stuck with it. And then I guess the joke's on me in the end.
I mean, you enjoy using violin?
Yeah, no, I love it.
All right, good.
I got really into playing it when I was about 13, when I got into like bluegrass, old-time fiddling, and did that a lot through high school. And then in college, I studied music composition, and I started getting more into classical violin and classical training. I remember my first violin lesson in college, my teacher was like, your technique is awful because all you've done is bluegrass and fiddling. And so I had to start basically from the beginning.
What was that like doing that in college?
It was a challenge, but you know, you gotta get your technique, you gotta get your fundamentals. That's just how you do it. So
and you were saying something about being a teacher?
Yeah, so I currently I teach music. I teach private lessons, and I also teach like general music classes. I operate a Major Arcana music studio in downtown Frederick. I'm a co-owner of it, and
what do you guys do there?
So we do private lessons. I teach violin, mandolin, theory, and composition, and we have about 7 other teachers that teach a variety of instruments.
This is your own business, you said, co-owned?
Yes.
And then you have a website or something?
Yeah, MajorArcanamusic.com.
All right.
Yeah, so we teach out there, and then I play with these guys. And I also play jazz. I play in a couple orchestras, and I keep busy.
All right. And then you, sir?
Declan, I play drums. Pretty much my whole life is rooted in music. My parents were huge on the Beatles. That's how they met. They were set up on a blind date. And I guess that was the only reason my dad ended up going, is because his friend told him that she was such a big Beatles fan. And I guess showed up and they were talking music and everything. And then when I was born, my dad named me after his favorite musician, Elvis Costello. His real name's Declan, and we actually just met him. We saw him at the Majestic Theater here in Gettysburg.
Yeah, he was here like 2-3 months ago.
Yeah, and we got to meet him. We actually they told him that story, and I guess my dad had told my mom that on the first date that like his son was going to be named Declan if he had a son, and Elvis Costello said that it was a pretty bold thing to do on the first date. Like,
that's awesome.
He said, that's ambitious, yeah. But then I started playing drums because of, actually in 5th grade, it was just kind of, I was tapping a lot. I kind of like found myself fascinated with it. And then my mom didn't really want me to get a drum set, so I got Rock Band first. And I was playing it all the time. Like I got to expert and I was playing it like nonstop. And she's like, all right, I might let it slide. But it was in a townhouse, so everything was like, I don't know, it's going to go over. But the neighbors just ended up complimenting everything. They're like, sounds really good. And so, I mean, I've just been really interested in music. That's the only thing I really know how to do. So besides that, I could never really find my way into the scene in Frederick. So I started a website, whatisfrederick.com, and I just started going to shows, and I'd like write reviews about them and then tag the bands, and all of a sudden they knew who I was, so I didn't have to like introduce myself because I was very like socially anxious to like introduce myself to people like solely like. And that was actually the first time I met these guys was in February. I interviewed them at a brewery, the show they were playing. And since then, the first gig I played with them was in Philly. We made a trip to Philly, and it was just awesome. And I, like, solely to me is like the Jimi Hendrix of Frederick. Like when I first saw them, like, I mean, he just like the faces he makes when he's solo and everything, and like
he has the faces though, dude.
He has this deep voice.
The alive version.
Yeah, I think he like probably doesn't give himself credit or wouldn't get enough credit for how great his voice is, and the fact that he can shred so much. It's just awesome.
That's great.
This dude's faces.
We all
so
love playing with
fun.
him.
Well, the camera's rolling. You guys want to play something real quick? You want to jump on?
Yeah, hop on.
Here, let's get them back on. We'll get some songs playing, and then we'll come back and talking. I've enjoyed that little introduction. Where we at? We're at 10:37 already. All right, so
we're talking about jamming. Do you want to do Purple Haze and
jam it.
Figured Y'all Know?
all right, 911 WZBT Gettysburg Expat Radio. So on the plug in, we're gonna play some music real quick, and then we'll go back to this. All right, get it. WZBT Gettysburg. We're gonna take a real. I try rearranging the background music that I've had. I've been playing the same music for the last year, and I keep on adding onto the background music playlist on my phone. There's like these 30 songs I've got built up, and I was sitting out before we came into the studio, and I'm sitting there trying to rearrange it into the background music playlist part 2. And as I'm doing it, I'm putting all these songs out. I'm like, yeah, these are the songs I really like listening to while I'm talking. I shouldn't have put this song on there because, yo,
it's cranking.
I start getting panicked, and I start getting hyped, like I want to start spitting, but I don't have bars, but I should have put this song in there. All right, so let me turn this. Actually, let me change this. So as we're going, an hour's passed by, hour 10 minutes. Let me put something a little slower. Let's put this on there. So an hour 10 minutes gone by. Yeah, I'm enjoying myself. I hope you guys are enjoying this.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
This is I was saying earlier. So as I was sitting out there playing around with my playlist, I'm usually getting anxiety about going onto the radio. I don't know what I'm gonna do or what I'm gonna say. Every week I do it. It works out. But then as soon as I get to the station, I start panicking. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna choke up. I'm gonna say the wrong thing. So I'll lead that into this. Before we get to the music you had just played. You guys playing open mics. You remember your first times? You remember going out your first time and standing in front of people?
Yeah.
You know, what was that like?
No, I don't remember.
I remember one of my first performances as a kid because I used to sing when I was a little kid, and I remember like my breath control was so terrible. I felt like I was gonna pass out. Like I was on stage. I was like going dizzy, and then the song ended, and I was able to take a proper breath, and I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you guys?
When I first got my drum set, it was middle school, a pep rally in front of the entire middle school. It was my first time playing drums in front of people. So it was like 1,000 people just all in the gymnasium, like looking straight at you. And we did like a cover of The Who, My Generation, and like people were like screaming my name and stuff. It was just like, it was my full like rock experience. So that was the only time I've ever been nervous playing, was like that one time. And since it was in front of so many people, now it's just like a natural thing. I go up and it's fine.
Right.
But yeah, that first time, I remember we like drank Cokes before we went on too, and I was just like, not only did I have the jitters, but I had like this caffeine buzz going on.
When I was doing fiddle and folk bluegrass stuff, I was in a group that involved a lot of kids playing these styles.
Okay.
And so, we do festivals where like everybody volunteered to like play little solos, and I would do a bunch of stuff like that. But I only really started playing in front of people like on my own when I was in college doing recitals on like concertos and sonatas and such. And it was often a really horrifying experience just because I'm trying to do really technical stuff, and like I get the same way where it's like I get really a little bit nervous about it, especially when I'm just like, oh god, this part I could have practiced it more. I could have practiced it more. I could have worked on it harder. And now here I am, and I'm gonna choke, and it's gonna be terrible. And then I go out and it's great. And it's just like, okay.
Oh man, this song came back on. I can't do it. Hang on.
It's haunting us.
Let me put this on. All right, perfect. All right. So, yeah, nerves. I mean.
Yeah, it happens so.
Yeah, it does. It's part of the thrill, though.
I think you're right. Yeah, I can't say I really like it, but I do get that sense of like I get real serious.
Yeah.
And as soon as the mic hits.
Yeah, it's on.
I'm ready.
That's the same thing. It's more like this. I like to call it anxiety. Just anxious to get on with it. You know what I'm saying?
And then as soon as it starts, it's just fluid. And I told you this when we were sitting at the Gettysburg Brewworks. A big shout out to the Gettysburg Brewworks for their open mic nights. Every first Thursday of the month for every month. They really do a good job over there. I was telling you guys. I don't have a script. There's nothing written down. I still believe I should write something down and just say.
You don't capture the magic that way.
Yeah.
Though.
Well, that's exactly. So this has worked out, and the one thing I usually get from this is everyone's usually cheesing, and there's always a smile on their faces, and it's true. It just works. I don't know how it works, but it works out. So let's go back to the music that you played earlier. You played 3 songs prior to taking a break. Talk us through that.
Well, the first song we played was a cover that was Purple Haze, Jimi Hendrix. So we run from that song into a song called "Figured You Ought to Know."
All right.
It's basically like I said, a lot of my concepts are vague. So is basically telling people. It's basically kind of telling the world, like, you know, like the state of the world is so obvious that, you know, I figured you ought to know. But you're not acting like it. You know, it don't. It's I figured you ought to know. It don't show. You're not acting like you know. I mean, it's like you see all of these things going on around you in the world, and just around you in your circle, and it's obvious. And we say we know, but we don't act like we know. We don't make the changes that we need to make in order to see something different. You know?
Yeah, buddy. Yeah. I could give myself advice on something. I probably wouldn't have the answer for a problem I have. I could give somebody else advice though, easy. If somebody had a problem, I'd be like, yo, I can tell you this, and the other. But for myself, I know what I'm supposed to do. I haven't really pulled the trigger yet and actually done it.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Right. All right, and then the third song you jumped into.
That one was what song was that?
Crown.
So that Crown was kind of like it's about like the people who rule the world. You know, it's like, you know, I see your crown, but your time's coming. You know, I see your crown, I see it shining, I see you run everything.
Everybody go out and vote, please. When the time comes, go out and vote, please.
But it's like, you know, but your time's gonna come. You know, it's like as soon as you think that, you know, you got it all figured out, your time is gonna come. And it's more so speaking to like the powers of the world, like, you guys are you're running everything now, but trust me, the universe is gonna take care of you.
Yeah, I can't say anything to that. Yeah, it's coming. I hear you. All right, so you guys are playing shows from like now until the end of the year. You got any shows you want to promote or where you'll be?
Next weekend.
Yeah, where are you gonna be at?
We have one this weekend. Well, you guys do.
Yeah, where are you guys?
This weekend, I forgot the name of the place. I should have wrote it down. But we'll plug the Frederick show since we're playing at Cafe 611 on Friday. That's November 15th. That is going to be a show. It's probably a nice handful of bands are playing in that show. Actually, the host from That Metal Show, VH1's That Metal Show, Don Jameson, he's actually going to be hosting that show. Right. So we're really pumped about it. Come through. The following day, we're going to be right down the street because for some reason, somebody likes to book shows right next door to each other on the same night sometimes. But that's just the way it is sometimes. But yeah, we're playing at the Eagles Club, and that's on Patrick Street in Frederick as well.
All right.
So those are the two ones coming up.
All right.
Here we go. And we also have this weekend for you guys is the Backyard Grill in Chantilly.
Backyard Grill in Chantilly.
Yeah.
Never been there before. We'll see how it goes.
That's a new
And then
name.
we have O'Shaughnessy's on in Alexandria on the 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called?
O'Shaughnessy's.
How do you pronounce that?
O'Shaughnessy's.
O'Shaughnessy.
O'Shaughnessy's.
Where's our resident Irishman?
Yeah. That's in Alexandria, and then Old Town.
And then Old Town, back in Old Town on the 23rd. So yeah.
All right.
That's our November.
All right, so
then the studio.
You can find all these dates on the Marshal Fuzz Facebook page.
In November, in December, we're doing at the end of December. I think that the date is the 28th. We're teaming up with a couple other bands. We're doing a 90s themed party where one of the bands is going to be doing like indie 90s covers. The other band's going to be doing like emo 90s covers.
All right.
And we're going to be doing like grunge 90s covers. So
all right. You got a playlist already?
Nah, we got to learn a few songs.
It's fluid.
It's
fluid.
Yeah.
It's growing every day.
All right, so now as we're going, where we're at. All right, so we got a little bit more time. How many songs you want to play? Like you definitely want to get down.
We can do 3 more.
Oh, you got time for like 6 more.
All right, we can do 5. We can do 6 more.
All right, perfect. So out of the music that you've got, you're recording. You're getting yourself lined up to record an album. How's that work? What's the goal here? You just play and see what happens as time goes by. You think you want to lay something down?
Well,
we got a formula. We have a formula that we're working on right now. We're about 4 tracks through 3.5 to 4 tracks through a 6-song EP that we'll have out hopefully the end of this year, early next year, depending on how everything goes.
How would you go about recording that?
So what we normally do is, depending on which drummer we have that's available, because we have a rotating kind of group of 3 drummers that we use. Whoever's available, whoever's there. We're gonna do 2 songs for each drummer, 2 different ones. So so Declan just actually laid down his second drum track. So we have 4 of the 2. But we'll go in with a drummer, and then we'll lay down like a scratch track. So you'll lay down a scratch.
Where do you go?
We go to some of our really good friends down in Frederick, Marzi Maddox. Shout out Marzi Maddox.
Shout out Marzi Maddox.
They have a recording studio at their house as well.
Right.
Really intimate environment, but really high quality sound. We're really happy with what we're getting out of there.
All right.
We got the scratch track, then we do the drums, the click, then I do the bass, and then we throw down. Normally we throw down leads, then
vocals,
and then we add the violin and the vocals after.
And then leave.
Yeah. The violin is that lovely little zazz on top, you know.
Well, I was overhearing you while I was having a little me time over there in the break room as the other show was going on before us, and I think I was overhearing you say something about a band or musicians. They were singing, they were playing, and it was sounded too clean where it was supposed to sound have a raw sound.
Oh yeah, that was you talking about somebody.
And it started thinking. I instantly started thinking of a band called the Growlers, and I have very fond memories of them. When back, that's what it was. It was Green Day.
Yeah.
And their sound for the Growlers was very raw, and it was. You could hear I think you're saying like cracks in their voices, and there was.
Right. Yeah.
It wasn't just like it didn't sound
part
processed.
of the appeal, though. It's genuine, yeah.
Yeah.
So as you guys are recording, is there any idea of how you would want the final product? Because this is the first time you're recording together.
Yeah.
What kind of sound are you going for as you're playing? For instance, for anyone that's listening out there, this is radio. So I've got 3 microphones, and I'm sitting on a board that's from like 1970 something, and I have to try and balance the sound out as it's going. It's got a raw sound, but I've received a couple of texts. That's why I told you to turn the bass down at one point, because the bass was distorting it a little bit. As they're listening, people are enjoying this raw sound. I mean, it's live. Yeah. It's not supposed to sound clean.
Exactly.
It's very present.
It's right there. Everything is together. I'm enjoying it. I've got the headset on, and if you catch me, I'm zoning out and I'm listening to it. It sounds great. As you guys are playing, it really does come through really well. As you're playing, you'll do the EP. You said six songs.
6 songs. Yeah.
How would you go about promoting this? How would you go about getting it out to people? Would you put it on Spotify? Would you put it on?
Yeah, putting it all on all your regular online outlets and venues.
All right.
One thing that we're doing a little bit different. I mean, I guess at this point it's not that original, but we're gonna press vinyl. Yeah, make it kind of like a collector's type of situation. I mean, I'm trying to stay ahead of the trend. I mean, that seems to be becoming more trendy, more so than CDs. I mean, I was telling my buddy. My buddy was like, "I got a CD player in my car." I'm like, "That'll probably be the last car that you have that has a CD player in it." So
people don't even know what tapes are anymore.
Yeah.
I have my phone, and there's enough music on this phone for hours of worth of listening. I remember I'm looking at, hang on, that thing. What's this called? This binder. This big binder.
Oh yeah,
and you're
CDs.
You're flipping through, and you've got your CDs.
Yeah.
Pages of CDs.
Yeah.
That was my high school. That was my high school musical career. People saying don't text and drive now, man. Like amazing how I was able to switch CDs.
Don't DJ and drive.
Don't drive on DJ. That's so unsafe, yeah.
To be honest, there is one factor of CDs I do miss is the fact that I had to really concentrate and think about I've only got space for 12 songs, maybe 15, maybe 18 songs. I really have to think about what am I going to put it on, what songs am I going to put on. Then I have to think about the rearrangement of the playlist. I don't want to just put all the heavy songs at first and then the slower songs. And
it's more interactive.
Yeah.
It really was more
very personalizing it.
As opposed to my playlist, everything's right there. I think it's like Netflix. I'm spoiled for choice. I only watch like 2 shows on Netflix, and there's thousands of shows on there. Star Trek, Deep Space Nine. Oh well, I just finished Star Trek: The Next Generation last week, and oh my God, Captain Picard and Worf, just role models. Honestly, just great character role models. Very good stuff. Then I started going to Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and that was That was my Star Trek when I was a kid.
Okay.
It's also it's just morals, honor, respect, integrity. All these words I think are lost on today.
All these.
Yeah.
It literally is.
Those are not trending terms.
Nobody uses that. They really don't care. So, all right, going back to this, we're gonna play some more music. We've got 35 minutes. We'll jump into some music.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more, and then maybe we'll finish out with some more music.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
All right, so let me play a song real quick. I'll play Shade.
Lampshade on the floor, sweater hanging on the door. Yeah. All right, that one was called.
Whatever that guy at the bar yelled out that one time.
What was it?
Is that we agreed to name it?
Perfect.
I have to look at the tape.
We refer to the tape.
To be decided.
Exactly.
That's what it's called.
Well, this one's called Stand Your Ground.
Good stuff. You want to keep playing? We got we got 15 minutes until we're done here.
We got some more stuff here. Let's go.
Is this loud outside? Is this loud outside?
I hear from upstairs, but it's really good.
Alright, good. Alright. So you're drawing people in. We got a random student come in.
Just one step to the right.
Yeah. Sorry.
No problem.
You're alright.
Smile.
Alright, what do you want to do?
Smile. Alright. We're ready.
Do we want to do the ending we talked about yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay, I think so.
Yeah, just that stuff.
I think so.
Yeah.
Just.
This is an
Alright,
ending
so
we've done once.
how many
Really
songs are
great.
you gonna play?
I got 1, 2, 3.
4, 5.
Oh snap!
1, 2, 3, and we'll play a cover.
Yeah.
4.
4.
Alright, we got 15 minutes, so if we can keep it in 15 minutes.
Okay,
we're
let's
done.
keep it. We'll keep it 15 minutes. All right.
Alright, so 911 WZBT Expat Radio. We have Marshal Fuzz here. We're gonna play some more music. You want to talk about any of those songs? You give it a chance.
Well, the last song that we just played.
Yeah, perfect.
Real quick. We'll just do it quick. The last song we just played has an interesting story. That song is actually about the Trayvon Martin murder, and it's actually a song written from the perspective of George Zimmerman. So he's kind of, you know, he's saying, look him, he's, you know, it's. I would just keep that in a nutshell. It's a long, it's kind of crazy.
I also really enjoy it. That was my favorite song to put violin parts for.
Yeah.
Like, it's just such a good song to just play over and improvise.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first time we ever played that live with you on the violin, I straight up messed up. I was just like, wow. I was like, oh, that's so cool. Oh, that's my band.
That's a great song.
Yeah, let me
Throw it in.
Go ahead.
1, 2, 3, yeah.
this.
We got it.
I remembered
We
it.
got the ending.
Alright, so we've got 9 minutes left.
All right, we'll just
do
couple
this.
You
more.
want to do River
River Blood.
River.
The song you were just playing, you got anything to say about that?
That one's called Smile. This song was when my mom passed away a few years ago. That song's about her.
All right.
Yeah, so that's she had a really nice smile. That's where I get my smile from. So.
Stunning.
Yeah.
Good man. Alright, let's go.
This one's called River of Blood.
River. Probably my favorite.
Spraying down on my heart, yeah. Feel You got one more?
Yeah.
One more.
Been down?
I've been down. Let's knock it out.
The Marshall Fuzz closer.
Yeah, the classic closer.
The
This
chaos.
one's called I've Been Down.
3 minutes left, but there's no other show but after this. So
we'll get it.
We're at no violations.
Sorry,
of the gold minute
no.
over.
91.1 WZBT Gettysburg Expat Radio. Marshal Fuzz. So this is your last song?
Yes, it's called I've Been Down.
Let's go.